Hey, talking to myself, welcome to the podcast. I know that you gon' feel Dave Sands the second, talking movies and gaming, even anime. Yeah, I might just go Super Saiyan. 242, the Bahamas, we gon' rep. Don't be anxious about nothing. Philippians 4:6, sharing about my life, sharing about God's truth. Always keep it real when I'm talking to myself. Let's go.
Mic check 1 2 3, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Talking to Myself. Hey, talking to myself. Welcome to the podcast. I know that you gonna be Dave Sands the second, talking movies and gaming, even anime. Yeah, I might just go Super Saiyan. 242, the Bahamas, we gon' rep. Don't be anxious about nothing. Philippians 4:6. Hey, sharing about my life, sharing about God's truth. Woo! Always keep it real when I'm talking to myself. With your host, with the very most, Dave Sands numero dos. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a microphone in my hand, and I'm so happy to have this microphone in my hand. It feels like it's been a long time. This is episode 29, which is 29 in Spanish, which means next week, 30 episodes, man. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of talking. That's a lot of talking. That's a lot of Bible verses. That's a lot of stories. That's a lot of oversharing. but I appreciate all of you so much for tuning in to another episode. Of course, we are everywhere. And I think I have it set up on YouTube in the corner. I don't know which side it's on, but there's a corner here, right? And you'll see my logo. And you could use that button to subscribe to YouTube. And so if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. If you are listening anywhere, well, we're everywhere, right? We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere where you get your podcasts. And so leave a 5-star review. That allows me to know that you are enjoying the episode, and it continues to motivate me. But yeah, we most certainly move, and I am excited to be back, man. Oh my goodness. How has the week been for me so far? Recording this on a Thursday, so week has been good. It is almost over. Man, just a really good week. I have no complaints, went by really quickly. And speaking of quickly, we're in February, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy. I mean, at this point, we might as well just start saying Happy New Year again and welcome in 2025, because after the first month is done, I mean, the year is gone. January felt a little bit slow. At the beginning, it actually felt like time actually slowed down, I guess maybe for me personally. But now it's not anymore. We're right back to a regularly scheduled programming of speed and agility. And that's just crazy. And so that's why it's so important, man. You got to enjoy these days, man, because they ain't lasting no more. Like back in the day, jeez. But back in the day, like in them high school days, bro, January used to take 6 months to get to, and now it only takes like 2 days. And so, yeah, make sure you are enjoying these days. Make sure you do some fun. Make sure you're doing something that you enjoy. Make sure you just take care of you, because at the end of the day, these days truly do not last, man. It's crazy. But we got another exciting episode for you all, man. We got some topics, of course, that I'm excited to talk about. One of them is going to be about this little camera here. Also going to be talking about a passage of scripture that I never really heard about, like a parable, which kind of came when I was away. And so it's a beautiful thing. And so it really, I think it's really good. And so, yeah, man, we most certainly move. And so let's get into the episode. Oh, wait, firstly, checking in. Hope everyone is doing well whenever you're listening to this. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Yeah, man, checking in. How's everyone doing mentally? Get a workout in. Spiritually, read your Bible. Mentally, well, I like a pepperoni pizza. So that always increases my mental increases my mental health. Oh man. But yeah, man, I'm just that's the trifecta. That's how jeez. I'm okay. I'm good. It's just a little windy outside. Don't shut off the episode, I promise. Again, it's just a little windy outside. I'm good. But that's how I kind of look at life, right? For those who may not know, or this may be your first time tuning in, I look at life in three ways: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. And so I kind of think like if I could have like those three things balanced, then I can most certainly have a perfect life. And so yeah, check those, check in with yourself, see how you're doing, and make the adjustments that you need to. Um, but yeah, I don't want to take any more time. I need to talk about this little guy right here. And I'm gonna put it in a little close. This is an action camera. It's called the Insta360 Go 3. For those who are familiar, like with, for example, like GoPro, for example, was kind of like one of the pioneers of action cameras, and so this is kind of like competition, if you will. This is not sponsored, by the way. So I could talk about these products freely, but of course, if one of them wants to sponsor me, by all means. But the story behind this Insta360 Go 3, to me, is now become a testimony, and I'm so happy I could finally like share this story, because I was waiting to actually tell this story in its entirety, so y'all can really understand how crazy this story actually is. So let's go. So recently, had the opportunity to travel once again, which is an absolute blessing. First travel of the year. And so that was really cool. And so I wanted to capture some shots in a different angle. With the beauty behind this little camera here, it allows me, or the individual, to essentially put it on like free POV. So there's an attachment here. So if I could take out this camera here, and then there's like this little chest mount where I could stick it here, or like there's actually a hat mount which allowed me to like to record one of my reels on Instagram where I was doing like rock climbing. And so and so I mean, that shot was amazing, and it felt really good to kind of like have another camera to kind of be creative with. And there's another story behind this, which I will tell in a different episode. I kind of want to make like a little kind of like short film. So yeah, I hope that goes well. I haven't had any time to like really like dig into the footage for that short film, because there's a little bit of footage I need to go through. But yeah, I really want to start putting that together to make like a really good story. But yeah, so I wanted this camera to capture some shots when I went on a cruise, as well as another shot that was really important for like that short film, like I mentioned earlier. And so I was debating purchasing this camera, frankly, because it's the newest iteration of its kind. And so because of that, obviously price is going to be expensive, right? And so I was contemplating buying this camera new, and when I was doing my cost analysis, I saw that there were opportunities to get it elsewhere. So my first place I was looking to get this camera was on eBay, and I don't really shop on eBay too much. I purchased one or two things here from there, not as much as Amazon, of course. But the good thing, and the feature of eBay is that you could place bets on bids and stuff. I'm not a gambling man, but I bid on a similar camera like this, and the knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen, because there was another thing where I didn't have to do a bid on this camera, which was like $157 for this. The retail of this camera, I missed out on a really good deal. My accounting side is killing me. But anyway, I put a bid on this camera. Like I was watching several bids throughout like 1 week before my trip. I got in there like the last 30 seconds, and then someone outbid me, and then it's just like, ay bastura. Well, I guess we don't move in any way. And so yeah, because I didn't win that bid on eBay, I had to go with the second option, which was to go on Amazon and purchase a camera. So I purchased it on Amazon and said it was going to reach here on time, right? And so it was basically going to reach the week of my trip. And so I was like, okay, it was going to reach on time, and then expedited, blah blah blah, it's going to be here. I remember I kept checking it every day because I want to practice like understanding the camera, so at least I can have some idea as to like what features had, how everything works, all those different things. It kept getting delayed, sadly, because it was in, I think it was Oregon, where this camera is coming out of. But they were having bad weather, shipments were delayed, blah 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 blah. And essentially, I had to give up on. Well, I kind of came to the conclusion that I won't have this camera for this trip, and I kind of just kind of like accepted the fact that all the shots that I wanted to do weren't gonna happen, and so I kind of had to have a plan B. Like looked for an old GoPro that I had, was able, and that story is gonna be crazy too in that short film that I mentioned earlier, but I had to make sure to see if that was working. Thankfully, that was still turning on and powering up. And so I bought memory, blah, blah, blah. I was going to use that as my backup camera since I wasn't going to be able to get this one. I remember I woke up, I don't remember which day it was, but this camera finally shipped. It was actually like where it needed to be in the States to reach the Bahamas. And so I was just like, yeah, let's go, And so as I waited and as I kind of went throughout the day, I was checking this thing all day. And it was finally going to reach where it needed to, right? And I don't know for some of my Bahamian listeners, I don't know how y'all post boxes are set up when you got to bring stuff in. But in order to expedite a package, at least with the company that I'm with, the package has to reach there a certain time in the morning, and there's a certain fee, and all that different stuff. And so I was really hoping that this camera was going to reach there on time. And frankly, it did not, right? It was kind of like an hour later than it's supposed to be. And so I kind of gave up fully then, but I still sent out like the email basically stating like, yes, I would still like to expedite the package if possible. And so it was kind of just like Hail Mary football toss to the end zone, not knowing if it hit or not. And so, yeah, I kind of just sat on it, right? And kind of accepted that fact that, okay, it just won't be here on time. A few days later, it was a day before I was about to travel. Actually, the evening. It was about like 6:16, if you will. One of the family members come in my room, tell me, "Hey, the package is was in the Bahamas," and I was just like, "What?" I was shocked because like the package didn't reach the time it was supposed to in order to be expedited, but it still came in anyway. And I was just like, "Okay, cool." I called my people down at a post box place, and I was just like, "Hey, is the camera in?" And it's like, "Yeah, it's in." And I was just like, "Oh my goodness." So I immediately had to go into action. I literally called them and say, "Hey, like I really need this camera. Please don't leave," because they were going to close at 7, ladies and gentlemen. Like the time I mentioned, 6:16. That ain't a lot of time. And my place in like Timbuktu, so I have to drive really far to get to this thing. So I immediately put on some shoes, grabbed my keys. Phone was basically dead, and I went on this mission to really go out and see if I could get this thing, because, like I said, I gave up all being, if you will, of getting this camera for my trip. And so I remember when I was just driving, and I never prayed on a package before from Amazon. Like I never like anointed a package through prayer. But I did the day before when it was actually like shipping through the US and reaching where it needed to. But as I was driving, I was just like, please, Lord, you know how bad I want this camera. Please, 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 please. I was literally just saying, please, 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 please. Please, 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 please. Please, please, please. My phone is dead, by the way, by this time. I couldn't even contact them to let them know that I'm still on the way, right? And so I was just begging, like, man, and like there was just so much traffic, and people were driving slow. It's just like, ay, basura. This is kind of my fault for not calling earlier, but I gave up on it, right? And I didn't know it was gonna reach, and all these things came in my head, and it was just really like, bro, I I was just like, is this my opportunity? Will I get this camera? Right. And so I reached where I need to reach to pick up my package. And it was 7:02. I remember I got out the car, didn't park properly. No good parking. I walked to the store. I looked in the window. I looked at the girl that usually serves me. And I was just like, please, please let me in. I know it's 7:02 and I know y'all have the lights off, but please let me in. And she shook her head in dismay. And she was like, no, brother, we're closed. No, she was just like, no, we can't do it. And I was just like, man, what a time. All of that, all the pain I went through with all the delays and this thing not reaching, and going through the States and actually being here on time, I came up short by 2 minutes, and I just thought that was it. But ladies and gentlemen, when it's in the Lord's will, He'll make a way. I look to my left inside mind you, I'm looking through the glass window now. I look to the left. Guess who's in there getting her package? My cousin, who I call Auntie. She's getting her packages. I didn't even know she has a P.O. box there. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that she was gonna get her packages, bro. So she's there, getting her packages. She sees me out the window. My package that when I called earlier to tell them that I'm coming in, was already on the table. So you know what she did? She got the package. She paid the fees, whatever it was, and I got the package. Bro, when I saw her, literally, I physically was jumping up and down. If you saw me that evening, you would have seen a young man jumping up and down, just being like, yes, I knew it was gonna happen. Bro. I knew it. And so, I can definitely say I've experienced miracles in my life, but I think that one was a clear miracle, like crystal clear. And I think I'm gonna like title that in the title of this episode, like crystal clear miracle, or like let's just say first miracle of 2020. I don't know, something with miracle in it. But I want y'all to think statistically how much of a miracle that is and how much odds I had to beat. Ladies and gentlemen, I did a Google search that evening or throughout that week. When was this? Results from Wikipedia, yeah? So we'll take that with a grain of salt. When was this article last updated? Let's say as of 2022, 2023. Yeah, as of this is what Wikipedia says. As of April 2023, the preliminary results of the 2022 census of the Bahamas report a population of 296,522 for New Providence. Not like all the different family islands. We're talking just New Providence. In the Bahamas, right? In New Providence. 296,522, right? I said to myself, how many people do I actually know, right? Let's just say I got 50, 100 friends, people that know me, maybe like 100 family members, maybe like 50 church members. Let's just do a rough number of 500 people that know me in this country. 500 people who I know in this country, whether it be really well or not so well. We're going to use the number 500. So if you take 500 divided by 296,522 people as of the population of the Bahamas, New Providence of 2023, multiply that by 100. That is 0.16862155253%. Basically, a 0.2% that I was going to meet someone in that store that I know. 0.2%. I beat every single odd. 0.2%. You can't tell me that wasn't a miracle. And I literally, in the car driving home, when I had this camera package in my hand, I was giving like a testimony, bro. I was like, even though the enemy will try to close the door on you, even though it's 7 o'clock, the Lord says He will open that door for you at 7:02. And I was just like, yes, sir. That was the clearest miracle that I think I've experienced. Do I want to say in my life? Maybe at this age of 27 years old. Clearest miracle, see it point blank, 0.2%. We got the camera, and we were able to make some amazing reels. Again, short film, hopefully coming soon. And so that was really amazing, bro. That story and that day, that night, I was just like, when the Lord really and truly wants you to have something, and if it's in his will, it's going to happen. So we most certainly, without a doubt, move. And that was a beautiful, beautiful thing that I experienced. And so, yeah, you know, that is the story of the Insta 360 Go 3 non-sponsored. If they want Insta 360, hey, sponsor your boy, you know. Shoot, I could film good content, just saying, you know, whatever. But yeah, that was the story, and that was really like, oh, that story is absolutely amazing, dude. One of my favorite stories for sure. But yeah, with that being said, we have a short passage of scripture I will kind of go through today, and you know, this came while I was away. I never read this story before, but it's a really beautiful thing. It's a parable, actually. Parable is an earthly story with a heavenly meaning, and so Bible app suggested this, and it is Luke 18, verses 1 to 8, and so we're gonna read that, kind of talk about it, my thoughts on it, and then, you know, I'm gonna see y'all later for next week, episode 30. What we gonna do? I don't know. We'll see. But it's called The Parable of the Persistent Widow. Of course, a reading from the New Living Translation. Let's go. And it reads, one day Jesus told his disciples a story to show that they should always pray and never give up. There was a judge in a certain city. Okay, give up. There was a judge in a certain city, he said, who neither feared God nor cared about people. A widow of that city came to him repeatedly saying, give me justice in this dispute with my enemy. The judge ignored her for a while, but finally he said to himself, I don't fear God or care about people, but this woman is driving me crazy. I'm going to see that she gets justice because she is wearing me out with her constant requests. Then the Lord said, learn a lesson from this unjust judge. Even he rendered a just decision in the end. So don't you think God will surely give justice to his chosen people who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will grant justice to them quickly. But when the Son of Man returns, how many will he find on the earth who have faith? See la. Luke 18, verses 1 to 8, the parable of the persistent widow. It says here in the notes, study Bible, because, you know, so I got notes. It says, many of us have experienced injustice at the hands of some authority figure. The story contrasts God to the unfair judge and makes the point that even if life is unfair, at least God is fair. If even an unjust judge will answer the pleas of a persistent widow, how much more will a just God respond to those in need who pray to him in faith? When trials and challenges make it seem as if life is unfair, we can still trust God to deliver us. Seeking God in prayer requires patience and persistence, but it always pays off in the end. Man, woo. That's a lot. Yeah, and I think when I first got this story, or actually I just saw got verse 18, verse 1, while I was away, I was just like, yeah, let me read the story, and it was really helpful actually, to kind of just read that. I find when I travel, I sometimes find myself reminiscent and in deep thought. That's where I kind of not make decisions on life, but really just kind of think, you know, what am I going through right now? You know, what's kind of happening, you know what I mean? And not saying that I necessarily gave up on anything, but I can be very impatient, especially when it comes to waiting. I think I remember saying in one of the episodes, one of my pastors at my church was saying how prayers answers in three ways: a yes, a no, and a maybe. And that kind of stuck with me, because when it's a yes, I always got that thing. I'm like, yes, let's go, we move. When it's a no, I'm just like, When it's a maybe, I'm just like, I can't take this anymore, you know. And you know, it's kind of hard to deal with the maybe, and it's kind of hard to be it's kind of hard to wait, and to be patient, and to really and truly kind of surrender to Lord's will in that sense. And so this passage for me gave me a lot of hope. I think in the first sense, if we relate it back to this camera again, I didn't know that I was actually going to get it in time, right? I gave up on it, right? And I don't know if it was just patience on well, maybe it was just was I persistent? I don't know. Maybe it was just like me kind of surrendering, but also just like kind of like accepting that whatever happens is gonna happen. And I think actually me getting like the backup equipment for my old GoPro was kind of me just accepting the fact like, hey, it's out of my control. And it is what it is, man. We got to keep this show moving, right? And so um just kind of like accepting and surrendering. I think maybe that's a key takeaway, but also just like you kind of mentioned, just like if an unjust judge um who neither fear God nor care about people can help a widow, imagine God, who surely cares for us, who surely give justice to his chosen people. You know, he cares for us, so of course he's gonna take care of us, right? And so that's a beautiful thing. Honestly, I got this verse when I was out, because like on a cruise ship they have like, you know, it's like a farewell party, and so I was waiting to do the Cupid shuffle. I never got the Cupid shuffle, rip, because yeah, I guess maybe I'm too old now to begin the Cupid shuffle. Like I want to, I suggested it to the guy anyway. But when I got this verse, I was just like, man, this kind of like is really helping a lot. It was just like, bro, um, yeah, it just really had me in thought about life and about, you know, where I'm at and, you know, what I'm trying to accomplish and, you know, all these different things, man. It was so beautiful to take in. When I read this passage, it was really helpful. And so, you know, I hope the same for all of you, right? Um, Life could get really lifey. It's hard to be persistent. Um, Even when I was starting this show, I was just like, how am I going to be perfect? Because I'm talking a lot about my faith. I'm talking about a lot of things, a lot of personal stuff. Um, I think there's perception that YouTubers and social media people have to be perfect, but I kind of understand that that's not true for me. I'm not. And so like I'm just glad that I could still recognize the humanity in myself, I guess. And that even though I'm a podcaster, I talk about my faith, I talk about a lot of different things under the sun, I could still be human. And so I'd like to think that all others who are watching are also human as well. And so, well, I hope we're all human. But in the same sense, none of us are perfect. None of us know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, that's why the word says, therefore, Matthew 6:34, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own, right? And so, taking days one day at a time, taking each moment one moment at a time, and really and truly trusting God and being patient in the process can be really helpful. And so I think we could call that Selah, man. This was a really good, therapeutic, fun episode. Always good to have this microphone in my hand. Thank you all for watching and listening. It really means a lot to me. Not sure what I'm doing for episode 30. Have some ideas that's been bubbling in my head, but we'll see if they come to fruition. But we most certainly and absolutely move. And yeah, hope you guys have a great morning, evening, afternoon, or wherever you listen to this. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you all later. Selah, we most certainly and absolutely move. And now I got to do the outro where I say we move again. Okay, we're going to do it again. We move. Yeah, that's it. We move, man. That is the episode. Woo. Sorry, man. It's the 360 go. Let's go. Woo.